Well, I would imagine you probably have a little bit of a soft spot for the Knoxville area because I know when you went to Tennessee, you were quite a bit younger and you had probably never been away from home for that long. And here you go flying all the way across the ocean to live at a place that you've never been before and be away from your family. And to have gone through that, you probably have a special bond with East Tennessee.
Yeah, I've got such great memories of East Tennessee. I've got such a strong bond with it. I've really enjoyed my time there. I say to my fiance now, I tell her stories about living in Knoxville and just the camaraderie I built up with teammates, with the locals. I can't speak highly enough of Knoxville and the people that live there. And as you mentioned, it was a huge challenge as a young man from Dublin, from Ireland, who had never been to the US before, and to kind of pack up and take the risk in moving to Knoxville, Tennessee. To be honest, I hadn't heard much about Knoxville before JT got in touch, or the swim coach got in touch. So, but the people in Knoxville welcomed me with open arms. A great place, and a place that I hold very dear to my heart.
What were some of the other, obviously, I guess you were what, 18 or 19 when you went to Tennessee?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I finished high school at 18, and then took a year to kind of figure things out.
Okay.
Again, it's just very new to the whole NCAA system, and what was required in terms of SATs and all that type of stuff that we don't do in Ireland. So yeah, it would have been about 18 and just turned 19 when I got out there.
So what were some of the, I guess, a couple questions. One, what prompted you to come to Tennessee? In other words, I know Tennessee got in touch with you, but why did you think it was important to swim at a college in America? And what were some of the other barriers that you faced? And I don't, I mean, obviously coming from another country, language wasn't the issue, but I'm sure there were some things that you had to get used to living in East Tennessee.
Yeah. So I suppose the first question, why Tennessee? Ireland generally has quite a small swimming community, and I would have, come up through age group swimming and sort of competing at the national level, and really, aspired to be a great swimmer. I remember watching the '96 Olympics, and we had a swimmer there, Michelle Smith, representing Ireland. She won loads of gold medals, and I had just started going to swimming lessons and just started to kind of dip my toe into water, literally, and was really inspired by that. And sort of as I joined the swim club, I developed a real strong social circle within the swim club. A lot of my friends were swimmers, and for me, it was just about going to see my friends every day. Yeah, we'd go to practice. I wouldn't really take practice that seriously. I was just going down there to see my friends and hang out. So it kind of got to about 17, 18 and really wanted to take this seriously. It was, the 2004 Olympics was coming up. I probably thought I was a bit too young there, but looking at all the top Irish swimmers that had come before me, Andrew Bree, another ex-volunteer, was from Ireland. He was the Irish record holder in the same event that I swam, and he had really, really good success with Tennessee and internationally as well. It was actually he came home to Dublin, and Dublin was hosting the European Swimming Championships, which was the first time we'd ever done that. And I was quite young at the time, and Andrew came back, was kitted out in all orange, came with the coach, John Tremblay, and went and swam to a European silver medal. And to do that in front of a home crowd, I was in the crowd cheering him on. And I thought, this was awesome. Like, I want to be that guy who's winning these medals. And so the connection was there. I always looked up to Andrew. And it was actually that connection through Andrew Bree that, JT had got in touch and said, I've seen the results of this Murphy kid. Do you know much about him? What's he like? Would he be interested in coming out and seeing the place? And so I just knew that, the top Irish guys had gone to the US and competed in the NCAA system. It was probably something I had to do at the time. We didn't have really a high performance setup in Ireland. High performance swimming wasn't really a thing. So I just knew best swimmers go there. I want to go there. And so there was a few universities in touch. Kentucky were in touch, LSU and North Carolina State, and they were all the ones that I was trying to feel out. But I think it was the history of Tennessee. They had Olympic medalists, NCAA champions in the events that I swam. They were a sprint-oriented program, and really JT said to me from day one, like, you're going to come in as a freshman and you're going to be a big player in all our relays. And really, I want you to be sort of the backbone of all the sprint relays and the sprint events. And, he just kind of put that trust in me early, and I just connected with it. So when all the cards were laid out on the table, Tennessee was head and above, the rest of the world. Not just with the attitude that they brought to the sport, but the facilities as well, because in Ireland, this might blow your mind, but we only got our first 50-meter pool in kind of like 2001.
Wow.
And the University of Tennessee now has 3 50-meter pools in the vicinity. So, I remember someone saying to me, like, University of Tennessee probably hosts the Olympics if they wanted.
That's right.
And that's it. We just don't have access to those facilities in Ireland. We didn't have really a sort of a team like camaraderie in the sport of swimming. It's very individual, and it just stood out. And I remember going on my recruitment trip in April. Sun was split in the sky. Went to the orange and white game and thought, I got to come here.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So, that was amazing. It was huge. And then I can't remember the second part of your question.
That's okay. No, it really is irrelevant at this point. Go ahead.
That was good. No, I had a question. You alluded to a little bit there. Some of the events you participated in. You mentioned relays. Heading into Tennessee and really the start of your, really competitive swimming career. Like, what were your main events? What did you excel at? And then kind of also talk about how that fit into some of the relays you did as well.
Yeah. So my main events were the 50 freestyle, the 100 freestyle, and the 50 and the 100 breaststroke. Okay. So that first year in Knoxville was the 2005-2006 season, and we were actually hosting SECs at the pool. So at that event, I would have swam the 200 medley relay, the 400 medley relay, the 200 freestyle relay, the 400 freestyle relay, and then 3 individual events as well. So pretty like full schedule. But it just meant that, every dual meet, every championship meet, all the way from freshman to my last season at NCAAs, I was involved in sort of all those sprint relays. And I always found that although, I would swim quite well individually, because, we were flying the flag for Tennessee, I was in a relay with my teammates, with my brothers that we had trained with for the entire season. I'd always elevate my game for the relay swims. So yeah, I just absolutely loved them. Again, in Ireland, we didn't really do relays. There wasn't really a focus on relays. But just the whole team spirit and team camaraderie of the relays is something I really love about the NCAA programs.